So tonight we're going to honor and induct into the prestigious Interiorscape Hall of Fame, Larry Pliska. Hey, Larry. He started Planterra in 1973 and is truly an OG plantscaper. It was in the plant business that he learned he could have it all, to be true and authentic to himself, and make a living, something many of us had no idea that we were going to do. Larry's not just a survivor of the flower child movement and the anti-Vietnam War protests. He and Planterra are a survivor of the various industry consolidation waves. When Jerry Leiter called once a year, making an offer to buy, Larry always said, no thanks. And thank goodness he didn't sell. Planterra has been good for the industry. And the succession of Planterra, led by his sons Shane and Zach, have been good for the industry too. Raise your hand if you have done business with Planterra. All right. Even outside our industry, Planterra is famous. Larry said, for over 30 years, I spent 8 hours a day, 7 days a week in a greenhouse, and I hardly ever got sick. And I know that everyone that works with plants can understand that sentiment. The article also goes on to say that Pliska, who believes so strongly in biophilia, the innate connection humans feel with nature and life, that he implores everyone, everywhere, to bring the outdoors in. You heard that correctly. Even as a retired industry CEO, Larry is continuing to work for our industry. He has done more than even the best publicists have ever done in his lifetime for the plant business. Being an ambassador for plants is at the core who Larry is. He was a founding member of Plants for Clean Air Council, the predecessor of Plants at Work, and then Green Plants for Green Buildings. He is also a founding member of the illustrious Silverado Roundtable, which, if you've never heard of it, it's the Illuminati of the plantscape industry. But the good guys. And Planterra is still a member to this day. We would now like to play a special tribute video in honor of Larry.
I'm Larry Pliska. I founded Planterra in 1973 out of a Volkswagen bus, and it grew to what it is today. It was the 1970s. We were the flower child generation, and we were against polluting corporations. We rebelled against them, as well as the Vietnam War. So Planterra was based on peace and love.
It goes back to 1972 when the third partner, Andre Bond, and I lived together in a bachelor pad in Birmingham, Michigan.
We decided to take a trip out west, and we basically jumped in his red Firebird and headed out.
Him and I went out west to Tucson to visit some friends, and while we were there, we went horseback riding, and next to the horseback place was a big, huge cactus farm. And we filled the trailer with cactus plants of all kinds, from little 2-inch things all the way up to these big saguaro cactus.
We basically did a search and rescue of cacti from different nurseries, and the rest is history.
Larry says, I'll take them all. I want all of them, and I'll take them back to my store. So he took them back to the store, and then he came back a month later, and he said, you know, I've been looking at this greenhouse in Bloomfield Hills.
An orchid greenhouse that was owned by the Fred Sanders Candy Company, and Dr. Schechter had bought it, didn't know what to do with the greenhouse, and rented it to me.
I'll never forget, we had a big delivery truck from Florida come in there, and he got stuck in the mud and blocked the whole road. And these people were so pissed, we couldn't get the truck out for at least 8 hours, I think it was, because the road was so narrow they couldn't turn the truck around. So anyway, that's how Planterra started with the three of us.
The name came from Pots and Plants originally, when I used to work at Pots and Plants in downtown Birmingham. The name Planterra is just pots and plants, plants and pots. Instead of pots, I use the word terra. So I put the word together, Planterra. I thought it was pretty clever at the time.
The three of us collaborated. We did everything, basically, in the early days, from watering to trimming to whatever. But Larry took a big passion to really running the greenhouse and taking it in as his own. So he loved to prune, he loved to spray, he loved to water.
We were self-taught. We were pretty much self-taught, and we went to conventions, we went and studied, but no, none of us were actually college trained in any way. Street smart, more than anything.
And at the time, Planterra was almost like a rock band, but it was a plant rock band. We were successful attracting those type of people that wanted to hang out with us.
We started doing shopping malls. We did Eastland. We did 12 Oaks when it first opened. They did Somerset. We were all over Michigan, Grand Rapids, Flint, doing interior of commercial buildings and malls.
The architect studies to deal with, they said, well, we designed these office buildings with clean lines. Now we need something to soften those clean lines with. And that's when plants came into good use, because it softened the hard lines of architecture.
I've always had a love for plants, and it was a tropical plant center, and I could find bromeliads and certain orchids and things that I couldn't find anywhere else. But then as it began to emerge, every time you went to a new office building or an upscale boardroom, there were Planterra plants, and at theaters, and the whole concept was so exciting, so creative, and so innovative.
The major connection with Planterra happened with the opening of Renaissance Center in Detroit, because I did a major work and it was framed by plants from Planterra.
We actually bid on the Renaissance Center, and luck would have it, we were the low bid. And we had to go in for a big interview. We were so excited, it was unbelievable. It was like a $300,000 job, and we were doing residential work at the time.
We had over 350 ficus benjamias in there, 15 to 20 foot tall. We had to rotate 600 chrysanthemums every 2 weeks because it was full of flowers and plants. It was just a paradise. Like I said, it was the largest interior landscape in the United States at the time.
I grew up going to the greenhouse with my parents, working there during the summers and learning about plants and working in the warehouse and doing different tasks with the greenhouse.
Some of my earliest memories are watering plants in our old greenhouse on Drake Road. We had dirt floors, we had rambling pipes that went through there, beautiful plants, and a collection of things that my dad had kept over the years.
I used to spend a lot of time there at the pond or just walking around looking at the different plants and cactus. We had a whole cactus area that we used.
I used to call the previous greenhouse the bayou because it was just crawling with frogs and insects and all sorts of things, which was incredible for a young kid.
The old greenhouse was made out of redwood and cedar, and it was built in the 1930s. It was very romantic, but it was also falling apart, and we couldn't rebuild it.
Very nostalgic, but not very functional. So a lot of stuff we had to do manually. A lot of times it was a struggle to work out of that building.
First time I met them was they were in the old greenhouse, which had a charm to it too. And when they said that they wanted to move into this place, actually they were out scouting for good greenhouses, and they found this one in Belgium. And I said, "You guys are nuts."
Economic times were uncertain. There was a recession looming. Larry had the foresight to believe that a greenhouse of this magnitude would do it, would make it work in his community, and he went forward with it. The greenhouse came in pieces from Belgium, with Belgium workers to assemble it. It was a difficult process. It was achieved through a lot of work at the community level. The community was not initially receptive to it, but as Shane and Larry explained it to them, I think the community did come around and got behind it, and here we are. We have now what's called an event center, which started out to be a greenhouse.
And when I look back at the decades of Planterra, from a small shop in the 1970s to a thriving corporate interior plant company in the booming 80s and 90s, back when my mom was in charge of sales and design for the entire company, to the 2000s when all four of us were working together, adapting the company with the times. We were doing jobs out of town, in Chicago and Vegas, and even internationally. More notably, we did a project for the government of Canada where we renovated Rideau Hall's conservatory in time for William and Kate's official state visit as a newlywed royal couple.
And it warms my heart to see to be part of the transition when Zach and Shane took it over, to see how happy that made Larry feel, and to see them doing it well.
I am continuing the legacy of Planterra with providing service to our customers and leadership to people who are part of the Planterra team, and continuing with an industry that is very niche and specialized and not something that you can learn from going to school. So that's what I'm bringing to it, is all the experience I've learned over the last 20 years. My father is passionate about what he does. He's a hard worker, and he cares about what he does and what everybody else does. And most of the people working here carry that passion with them. It's more of something that you learn and you bring with you from experience. It's not something that can be read in a book.
Planterra is a family business success story. We're also an entrepreneurial success story. What has remained the same at Planterra from 1973 till now is our passion for nature and incorporating nature and plants into everyday living. My dad's always been a dreamer, and he actually taught me this concept of creative visualization. And it's pretty remarkable on how he was able to build something and create something that was truly just based on passion. He had no education in it, and he found his way by accident or luck or by vision to build a company that really has a sense of purpose to it.
I'll never forget a quote by Maharishi Yogi. Since I'm a transcendental meditation person, I started back in the 60s. And he said that if 10% of the population of planet Earth would meditate, there'd be no more war. And plants are part of that, because plants promote healthy thinking, because you're breathing oxygen. And healthy thinking results in healthy actions. I can't believe it's been 50 years. It just flew by so fast. And here we are, having peace and love. Every weekend we have weddings. People get married here, and they have fun here, and they celebrate life here. And that's what makes me really, really happy, that they're celebrating life in my facility. Peace and love was all over, peace signs and flowers, and my Volkswagen bus was painted with flowers and peace signs, and we were just happy to be able to make a small living by providing plants for interior environments. I feel blessed, with gratitude, that I'm in the plant business, because I don't think I could do anything else. I would like to send out a special thank you to all the employees, past and present, my good friends that are here this evening, and my supporting family, Carol, Shane, and Zach, for all the hard work, love, and creativity that brought Planterra to this level of success, which I am truly grateful for. Dreams do come true. I am honored to receive this unexpected award, and I have many thanks to this industry and the Florida growers. I have a lot of appreciation for my wonderful family, Carol in particular. She helped me keep my feet on the ground during some challenging times as we were growing. Shane and Zachary, for their creative energy and love that went into the family business, they took it over and brought it up to the success that it is right now, as well as the dedicated employees that love the industry that we're in. They love the business and the beauty of it. I just feel very fortunate that I was part of this plant world, and I just want to thank everybody for everything that has happened this evening. Thank you.
I've learned everything I know from this man. And my mom too. This award is really about what my mom did with my dad together for what is now 52 years. So I feel incredibly grateful. I speak for my brother too, and our employees. We couldn't be more pleased with how things have turned out. And I think this is a good time for us to raise a glass as a wine sponsor. If someone wants to bring up one of the bottles, take a look. The most interesting man is on the bottle. So it's a toast to both my mom and dad together, Larry and Carol Pliska. There's many years ahead for them and this wonderful business. Thank you. We have so much gratitude. Cheers.